We have a wonderful musical evening in store for you. So please do take your places. Good evening. Good evening, and a very warm welcome to all the distinguished members of the audience. We have a very special musical exposition planned for you this evening, which is from the folk and other heritage music traditions of our country. Folk and traditional music live in oral traditions of a society. They often tell stories of lives forgotten or transmit important information from generation to generation. A rich source of knowledge base on local culture and history, they are amongst the most expressive components of intangible culture of a society. And it is for this that Vidya Shah has curated today's musical evening from the folk and traditional genre of music. Vidya Shah initially received training in Carnatic music and later received guidance in North Indian genre of Khayal from Shubha Mudugal and Mujahid Hussain Khan, and Tumari Dadra and Ghazal from Shanti Hiranand. She has performed in various international events all over the world. A prolific composer, she is the recipient of the Charles Wallace Award and a senior fellowship from the Government of India for her project Women on Record, highlighting the contributions of the women of the forgotten women performers in the gramophone era. She is accompanied by her team of musicians, and may I request her to come up on stage? Vidya ji, आइए. Vidya ji, may I also request you to introduce your accompanying artists to the audience and take the evening forward?
I think in the last 2 years, if there is one question that has been thrown at us repeatedly, it's can you hear me? Because of all the Zoom and the Google Meet and what have you. So, uh, Behral, good evening to everyone. Namaskaram, Adab. It's a pleasure to be here this evening, and I'm very grateful to Intac and Manisha to have invited me to put together a repertoire. Um, even as we were growing up, Intact was an organization that one always knew about and felt very special that there is this organization that is committed to conservation, preservation of our national heritage. Over the years, as a practitioner, I have also been nervous, little worried about the intangible heritage that I'm also a practitioner of. So it's nice to be able to uh, think about it a little bit this evening. Having said that, the the title that was suggested to me, uh, it's just huge. I mean, it's a massive canvas to look at folk and traditional forms. That's also looking at several centuries of music. Music in several languages, music in several dialects, and also across genres. So obviously, it did come to me as a huge challenge. So I have to admit that in putting together this evening's repertoire, I chose to follow my heart actually, because as the noted ethnomusicologist Ashok Ranade had said, that when we say Indian music, it's actually so many things. It's not just this one idea that I'm sure if we think of Indian music, it'll mean different things to different people, even across this room. But the other interesting thing that happens with Indian music is how it fuses, how it is intertwined. and it's very hard to separate various forms and various genres. I will present a few thoughts from the topic that is the theme that has been suggested for the evening. And before we go ahead, I'd begin with the first one. It's, I would say, it's like a quintessential folk song. It comes from a collection of, it comes from an ethnomusicological study from North India, from the Jaunpur area specifically. And I chose this because one of the things when we think of folk music is how it is really a space for a lot of people to tell their stories, to share their lives, to be able to express their feelings, uh, to flirt, to joke, to gossip. So folk has the space to be able to do all this. So the first song actually is from this collection called Unearthing Gender, where the researcher finds herself in a setting where women workers from the field have been invited to perform in a household, and these women use this opportunity to fret and to also um, to sort of कि क्या करें यार अब is the rain is there, but I'm still not able to find my happiness. And then in the end she reaches out to her brother, where she says, okay, now I have this terrible headache, what do you suggest I do? And the brother is also pulling her leg and saying कि ऐसा करो, लाल मिर्ची का पेस्ट बना के सर पे लगा लो. So there's that kind of knock jhonk, not knock jhonk really, that kind of a sort of a conversation that's going on. तो आप सबसे इजाज़त लेती हूँ, और शाम की आगाज़ इस चीज़ से करना चाहूँगी कि धीरे रे धीरे देवा बरस गईले. हाय लाल मिरचवा रे उलवा के ठुसवा रे हाय लाल मिरचवा रे उलवा के ठुसवा रे हंसी के लगावा ही हंसी के लगावा ही ठाया रे मारे धीरे 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 रे धीरे देवा बरस गईले धीरे 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 रे रे धीरे रे धीरे So, in my own sort of approach to my music, I have been lucky in the sense that there is a lot of music that has been documented, archived, not so much as composition, but more as, for example, there's a whole series that I found which was done as part of a linguistic survey that the British did in the second decade of the 20th century. And in that survey, so there is one engineer who's walking around with one gramophone machine across the country, just recording languages. So he finds 97 dialects or something in that sort of crude technology that he's walking around with, all by himself. So all this was compiled as part of this linguistic survey, and uh, it's interesting that one series of these poems was from the 1857 struggle. There were several poems which, for example, there is one which is about the dirge of the Begums when Zafar is sent away. So सब बेगम बैठ के रो रही हैं कि भाई क्यों भेज दिया उसको. Then there is another one which is talking about मीरठ के गदर में, how the women sort of pushed the men out to be a part of the gadar. कि मीरठ का गदर है और तुम जाके जुड़ो उसमें, इस तरह के भी गाने हैं. या फिर slightly more nationalistic songs were also part of. The one that I would like to sing for you all is about the idea of namak harami, or in a sense, how can you be loyal in this kind of a difficult situation, which it must have been in 1857. So अब कैसी करी हो निमक हरामी देसवा बेगाना कर दी हो रे मेरे साथ संगत के कलाकारों का परिचय करवा दूं। Amar Sangam Das on the guitar. Thank you. He's come all the way from Bombay to join us this evening. Ashik Kumar on the harmonium. Satish Solanki on dholak and duff. And Shanti Bhushan on the tabla. अगली चीज़ जो है वो एक सूफियाना कलाम है। आज की शाम मैं पहले ही आपसे आई शुड say this in English because I can see some dear friends from the south and east as well. Um this evening, I'm actually going to stick my neck out and try different languages. So, because that's also the excitement of exploring folk traditions. The next one is very far away from where I originally come from. In India, they always say, "Where are you originally from?" Uh, so, although I grew up in Delhi, but I am from, well, my family is from Tamil Nadu. So, uh, however, in this song, I will try singing a little bit of Punjabi. It's not ठेठ पंजाबी. अनीता जी बैठी हैं, मैं आपको बता देती हूँ कि ट्रांसलेशन इतनी हिम्मत नहीं है, बट फिर भी. The song describes a cloth, salu, and the woman says that I put my salu out in the sun. And another woman from the neighborhood, she comes to borrow my salu. And when she comes to borrow this salu from me, I am unable to say no to her. The salu that I have actually put out in the sun has traveled through various parts of the country. It has come from the core of Kashmir. It has knifed its way through the snow there. The salu emerges from the kernel of Gujarat. Strange fears of the first night had clouded my thoughts, lest I should make a brazen sight. And so the Salu is actually a very long poem about how this cloth has so many meanings and interpretations and metaphors between the women who share it. Huh? Uh, this particular, I will only sing an excerpt because lambi cheez hai. And we have tried to, some of the things that we are singing this evening, we've also tried to compose. Uh, some excerpts from थोड़ा सा ससुराल गुजरात में है तो शायद गुजरात की एक दो चीज़ें गा दूँ मैं, बट तो सालू शाह हुसैन की चीज़ है, if I'm not mistaken. हाँ पाया टंगने सालू पाया टंगने सालू पाया टंगने ग्वांडन आई मंगने सालू पाया टंगने ग्वांडन आई मंगने हाँ सालू पाया मीरदा कोई आया बर्फ चीरदा कोई आया बर्फ चीरदा जाना करके सालू सालू दूर गुजरात दा कोई मैं भो पहली रात दा सालू दूर गुजरात दा कोई मैं भो पहली रात दा किते रंग बहार सालू पाया टंगने सालू सालू पाया सालू पाया सालू पाया सालू पाया टंगने सालू मेरे आलदा सालू मेरे आलदा कोई महरम नहीं हालदा सालू मेरे आलदा कोई महरम नहीं हालदा किस पे अखा जा सालू पाया टंगने वांडन आई मंगने सालू पाया टंगने जो फोक और जो शास्त्रीय खासकर उपशास्त्रीय का जो the distance between folk music and what we celebrate or what we sing as semi-classical forms, particularly of North Indian music, is actually very close. A lot of what we sing as dadras particularly are very borrowed from folk themes, yeah, and in fact the whole the lilt of a dadra or the pace of it or the sheer energy of it, I think also borrows largely from folk themes. There is one मेरे पास किसी ने कहा कि कुछ कुछ दादरा वादरा सुना दीजिए, तो एक आपके सामने एक निर्गुणी दादरा सुनाना चाहूँगी. Nirguni as in that which sans form essentially, and the dadra was also among other people recorded by Begum Akhtar in the 30s. And the the song is located in the idea of a metaphor that, you know, you're wearing it says sundar sari mori maike mein mail bhai. The sari actually is a metaphor for the body, and maika is your natal home, which is in this song it refers to this world that we live in. So it says this body has become mela or dirty in this big bad world. So what do I take with me to that other world? So that's the idea of this dadra. A dadra is typically, I don't mean to make this like a little ready reckoner or Indian music or anything, but a dadra is essentially a semi-classical form. Like you have tumri, which is more languorous and which is more centered on separation, love. Dadra is a more fast-paced version of that very family. Yeah? अशोक जी आपकी नजर. कालै के जैबे गवनवा हैरान कालै के जैबे गवनवा सुंदर सारी मोरी मैके में मैल भई कालै के जैबे गवनवा कालै के जैबे गवनवा हाय राम कालै के जैबे गवनवा सुंदर सारी मोरी मैके में मैल भई कालै के जैबे गवनवा हाय राम कालै के जैबे गवनवा हाँ काले के जैबे रामा काले के जैबे रामा काले के जैबे रामा काले के जैबे रामा सुंदर सारी मोरी मैके में बैल भई काले के जैबे गवनवा हाय राम काले के जैबे गवनवा ना मोरे गुण ढंग ना मोरे गहना हाँ ना मोर गुण ढंग ना मोर गहना ना मोर सो करमवा हाय रामा ना मोर गुण ढंग ना मोर गहना ना मोर सो करमवा हाय रामा खोल घूंघट जब खोल घूंघट जब पिया मुख देखिए करवे कौन बनवा हाय राम करवे कौन बनवा हाय राम सुंदर सारी मोरी मैके में बैल भई कालै के जैबे गवनवा हाय राम सूरज पैया लगो रहलो बरत ईद बरवा हाय रामा गंगा नहाइया वो सूरज पैया लगो रहलो बरत ईद बरवा हाय रामा हो गंगा मैया गंगा मैया तो है पियरी चढ़ैबे गंगा मैया तो है पियरी चढ़ैबे सैया से कर दे मिलनवा हाय राम सैया से कर दे मिलनवा हाय राम सैया से कर दे सैया से कर दे सैया से कर दे मिलन I was trying to see, there is just, I'm now repeating myself, but there's just so much richness in this repertoire that it was. So I found the best thing about, putting something new together. Thank you, Manisha, for pushing me to do this, is that you always find interesting new things. And I found this beautiful Bengali song, which uh, one day I will sing fully, but I just wanted to sing 2 lines of it, if that's okay, because it's a beautiful. It was originally a Sylheti song, and then it was found by an ethnomusicologist in Shantiniketan, and subsequently it has been sung by various popular artists. So this is, I'm sure there are many Bengalis in the audience, and I know they are very, very ruthless when it comes to pronunciation and all of that. So I'm already apologizing. I can see one Bengali in the audience, but the others as well. I'm going to just a couple of lines. আমার হাত বান্ধিবি পা বান্ধিবি আমার হাত বান্ধিবি পা বান্ধিবি মন বান্ধিবি কেমনে মন বান্ধিবি কেমনে আমার মুখ বান্ধিবি মুখ বান্ধিবি পরাণ বান্ধিবি কেমনে আমার হাত বান্ধিবি পা বান্ধিবি মন বান্ধিবি কেমনে Thank you. Hopefully there'll be another where I sing the next stanza and the next stanza. I'd like to sing an unconventional Mirabai. So this takes us to Rajasthan, where usually when you think Mira, you're thinking of Mira ke Prabhu Giridhar Nagar or Baso More Nainan mein Nandalal, so on and so forth. Eri mein to Prem Diwani. Many beautiful things have been sung. But in this particular rendition, on this particular poem, which I was fortunate enough to get from uh, through, there was this very, very well known anthropologist, curator, Komalda, from that organization. They shared this Mirabai, which has nothing to do with, there's no reference to Krishna in this rendition. And Mira says ki dharan sarikha pehru ghagra. Dharan means dharti or the earth. Sarikha pehru ghagra. Sari or the top, ambar odu. So it's really another level of abstraction where Mira merges with the earth and the sky all at once in a sense of abandon. Yeah, it's really very close to my heart, and like I said, it's not very typical as well, and it's completely rooted in Rajasthani folk as well. So धारण सरीखा पैरों घाघरा अंबर सारी ओढ़ो धारण सरीखा पैरों घाघरा अंबर सारी ओढ़ो नौलख तारा मारे अंग लगाए दो नौलख तारा मारे अंग लगाए दो बची धारण पर ठहरो I मैंने पहले ये तो कह दिया that I am from a South Indian family, so I don't know what my Punjabi will be like. So now I don't know what my Tamil is going to be like. But I am going to attempt a patriotic song by the very, very celebrated Tamil poet Subramanya Bharati. And I can only say that now I can apologize in Tamil instead of நான் தப்பு செஞ்சா மன்னிச்சுடணும். So, செந்தமிழ்நாடென்னும் போதினிலே இன்பத்தின் வந்து பாயுது காதினிலே. செந்தமிழ்நாடென்னும் போதினிலே இன்பத்தின் வந்து பாயுது காதினிலே. எங்கள் தந்தையர் நாடென்ற பேச்சினிலே ஒரு சக்தி பிறகுது மூச்சினிலே. எங்கள் தந்தையர் நாடென்ற பேச்சினிலே ஒரு சக்தி பிறகுது மூச்சினிலே. செந்தமிழ்நாடெனும் போதினிலே இன்பத்தின் வந்து பாயுது காதினிலே. வேதம் நிறைந்த தமிழ்நாடு, வேதம் நிறைந்த தமிழ்நாடு, உயர் வீரம் செறிந்த தமிழ்நாடு. வேதம் நிறைந்த தமிழ்நாடு, உயர் வீரம் செறிந்த தமிழ்நாடு. நல்ல காதல் புரியும் மரம்பயர் போலிடம் கன்னியர் சூழ்ந்த தமிழ்நாடு. செந்தமிழ்நாடெனும் போதினிலே இன்பத்தேன் வந்து பாயுது காதினிலே. முத்தமிழ் மாமுனி நீள்வரையே நின்று மொய்ம்புற காக்கும் தமிழ்நாடு. செல்வம் எத்தனை உண்டு புவி மீதே, அவையாவும் படைத்த தமிழ்நாடு. செந்தமிழ்நாடெனும் போதினிலே இன்பத்தின் வந்து பாயுது காதினிலே. ஒரு சக்தி பிறகுது மூச்சினிலே. I know you have gone into your dinner time. From Gujarat. Oh my God. चलिए जरूर. एक 18वीं सदी के 19वीं सदी के 19th century poet called Dasi Jeevan. I will sing one of his works. He was a poet from Saurashtra, and if I'm not mistaken, he was also called the Radha of Saurashtra. He was deeply entrenched in that tradition. And this, of course, is again in a very, very Nirgun Ang, and locates the idea of finding your spiritual path within yourself. That's the idea of the song. So it's a Dasi Jeevan. And this was originally, of course, it's a tradition, a fairly, it's a poem. It's an old poem, but it was sung also by the legendary Hemant Chauhan from Gujarat. So this is. Hey Avadhu, जीरे गगन मंडल गरमा गगन मंडल गरमा जीरे जीरे गगन मंडल गरमा हे अवधू रण 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 वागे जीरे जीरे गगन मंडल गरमा जीरे जीरे गगन मंडल गरमा हाँ धन देना दखंड धुन गाजे धन देना दखंड धुन गाजे झलमल ज्योति जाए घनन घनन घन हुआ घन कारा घनन घनन घन हुआ घन कारा है तकिया तीरा राय जीरे जीरे गगन मंडल गरमा गगन मंडल गरमा एक जोगेश्वर वाघर बैठा हाँ एक जोगेश्वर वाघर बैठा उनसे करी ले ओळखाण अटल अभंगी तो पद पावे अटल अभंगी तो पद पावे हे सुरता की आठ राय जीरे जीरे गगन मंडल गरमा हे सुरता की आठ राय जीरे जीरे गगन मंडल गरमा गगन मंडल गरमा हाँ प्रेम भेट्याने मारी भ्रमणाओ भांगी प्रेम भेट्याने मारी भ्रमणाओ भांगी ओ घर दिया ओल खाए प्रेम भेट्याने मारी हाँ प्रेम भेट्याने मारी भ्रमणाओ भांगी ओ घर दिया ओल खाए दासी जीवाना दासी जीवन सत भीमना चरणा दासी जीवन सत भीमना चरणा हे गुरु रे मल्या रे गोसाई जीरे जीरे गगन मंडल गरमा हे अवधू अवधू हे अवधू रण 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 वागे जीरे जीरे गगन मंडल गरमा गगन मंडल गरमा गगन मंडल गरमा I think we'll end tonight with, one of the things that as someone who has learnt largely North Indian music, I learned Carnatic music for some years, but my practice has been ठुमरी दादरा गज़ल etc. तो कई बार ऐसे होता है when we sing our repertoire उसमें ऐसे शब्द आते हैं जिनका मतलब जो फिर आगे जाके फिल्मों में भी आई एम जस्ट टॉकिंग अबाउट द ट्रांजिशंस दैट टेक प्लेस. पहले फोक में घरों में शायद लोग गाते होंगे, फिर मिल के बैठ के गाते होंगे, फिर एक ज़माना आया जब वो शास्त्रीयता की तरफ आ गया. देन इट मूव्ड इनटू अ मोर पॉपुलर फिल्म काइंड ऑफ अ. फॉर एग्जांपल, देयर इज अ सॉन्ग व्हिच एवरीबडी विल नो, पनघट पे आके सैया मरोड़े बैया. This was in a popular Karan Johar film, huh? And everybody says something something. It goes like that. Now I often wonder how many people really know the idea of a panghat, you know. So this it's a wonderful uh, canvas to be explored, particularly in terms of preserving lyric, looking at continuity, preserving this intangible heritage, which also has so many journeys and movements. I don't think we can look at what I'm trying to say here is that we cannot be modular in the way we look at traditions or genres or how they have existed. Because then we tend to move away from the source, let's say. We tend to move away from where it might have come. Because I think one of the things that we should feel so proud about is the oral tradition. हम लोग सब उसी गुरु शिष्य परंपरा में सीखते हैं या सुन के सीखते हैं या जो women who work in villages like that. Dheere re dheere was a song that is probably handed down generations, to women who are working in fields. So this oral tradition is so special, but on the other hand, how do we keep it together, you know so I think it's been it's to me the nervousness this that it should not be something that we lose, that's all. But I'd like to finish with another dadra, again a fairly popular one, by Begum Akhtar, which became even more popular when it came to film. But हमारी अटरिया पे हमारी अटरिया पे आओ सावरिया, देखा देखी तनिक हुई जाए. हमारी अटरिया पे आओ सावरिया, देखा देखी बलम हुई जाए. आवो बलम तुम, आवो सजन तुम हमरे द्वारे, सब दिन का झगड़ा खत्म हुई जाए. हमारी अटरिया पे तसव्वुर में चले आते हो, कुछ बातें भी होती हैं, शब फुरकत भी होती हैं, मुलाकातें भी होती हैं. हमारी अटरिया पे आओ सावरिया, देखा देखी बलम हुई जाए. हमारी अटरिया पे क्या बात है. जो न मिली हो तो ये समझना जुलम हुई जाए। हमारी अटरिया पे आओ सावरिया, देखा देखी बलम हुई जाए। हमारी अटरिया पे सावरिया, 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 हमारी अटरिया पे आओ सावरिया, देखा देखी बलम हुई जाए। हमारी अटरिया पे, हमारी अटरिया पे, हमारी अटरिया पे। Thank you all very much. Many thanks to Intact. Thank you, Manisha. And thank you to Amar, Ashik, Satish, and Shanti. Thank you.
Vidya, on behalf of all our distinguished guests in the hall, I thank you for giving us such a riveting, enriching, and interesting musical experience. May I now request Chairman Intact Major General L.K. Gupta to please felicitate Vidya, and also Vice Chairman Intact Dr. Saryu Doshi, and Member Secretary Intact Dr. C.T. Misra to please felicitate the artists. Get somebody to remove the two pots, आगे से ना, the two potted plants. वहाँ से गमले हटा दीजिए दो तीन. Chetan, you only pick up now. Pick up and move from there. हटा दीजिए वो. As we end this evening, I'd like to thank everybody in the backend team who's been working so tirelessly to make this a success, and to all the members of the audience for being so appreciative and attentive. With this, we have come to the end of today's sessions.